January 15th, 2026, Shinjuku. The battle is over. Yuji Itadori lies broken in the rubble, and Raomen Sukuna, the king of curses, finally walks the earth in his true form. 4 arms, 2 faces, and 1,000 years of malevolence given flesh. The golden age of jujutsu sorcerers threw everything they had at him. It wasn't enough. But let's change one thing. Sukuna decides Japan is boring. He's already killed its strongest sorcerers, destroyed its major cities, and proven that nothing in this era can challenge him. So he goes looking for a real fight. And we're better than the nation that claims to have the most powerful military on Earth. The King of Curses crosses the Pacific in hours, landing in San Francisco with a smile that hasn't graced the world in a millennium. He wants to see what modern humans have built. He wants to tear it down. So, what happens when an ancient evil that conquered the golden age of jujutsu faces off against the modern US military? Spoiler, it's a massacre. 9 a.m., Golden Gate Bridge. Sukuna stands at the center of the span, 4 arms spread wide, drinking in the fear of morning commuters. Police arrive within minutes. SFPD officers with Glock 17s firing 9mm rounds at 375 meters per second. Each bullet carries about 500 joules of energy. Sukuna doesn't bother dodging. He doesn't need to. In the Heian era, sorcerers threw techniques at him that could level mountains. He killed them all. Bullets spark against his skin and fall to the pavement like dropped pennies. Then he raises one finger. Dismantle. Invisible slashing attacks tear through the police vehicles in a single motion. Metal shrieks as patrol cars split into ribbons, fuel tanks rupturing and igniting. The officers themselves, Sukuna leaves them alive. Not out of mercy, he wants witnesses. He wants the world to know he's here. 9:30 a.m. The National Guard scrambles from Camp Parks. Humvees mounted with M2 Browning 50 cals approach the bridge, their 12.7mm rounds delivering 18,000 joules per shot, enough to shred engine blocks and punch through walls. Sukuna watches the convoy approach with something approaching nostalgia. Humans and their weapons. 1,000 years ago, they came at him with swords and cursed tools forged by master craftsmen. Now they bring machines that spit metal. The principle is the same. The result will be too. The 50 cals open fire. Sukuna walks through the barrage like a man strolling through rain. In the anime, he tanked direct hits from Mahoraga, an entity designed to adapt and counter any attack, wielding a blade that could cut through cursed energy itself. Heavy machine gun rounds are beneath his notice. He points at the convoy. Cleave. Where dismantle cuts inanimate objects, cleave is calibrated for living targets, adjusting its power based on the cursed energy and toughness of the victim. Against normal humans with no cursed energy, it's overkill of the highest order. The Humvees don't explode. They simply come apart, sliced into cross sections so clean they look manufactured. 10 a.m. Apache helicopters arrive from Moffett Fields, each carrying 16 AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. The pilots have been briefed on what they're facing, some kind of meta-human threat that's already torn through ground forces. They engage from maximum range, ripple firing everything they have. 32 missiles streak toward the Golden Gate Bridge. Each Hellfire creates a jet of molten copper at 25,000 feet per second, designed to burn through tank armor. The combined impact would vaporize a city block. Sukuna yawns. He doesn't bother cutting them down individually. Instead, he leaps toward the helicopters, covering 3 miles in seconds, moving faster than the pilots can track. In the manga, Sukuna kept pace with Gojo Satoru, a man who could teleport using cursed techniques. Military helicopters are standing still by comparison. 4 arms means he can destroy 4 helicopters simultaneously. He tears through the formation like a shark through a school of fish, rotors and fuselages scattering across the San Francisco Bay. The missiles, now without guidance, spiral into the water and detonate harmlessly. 11 a.m. The Pentagon's crisis room is in chaos. Satellite footage shows something that shouldn't exist. A 4-armed humanoid moving at supersonic speeds, shrugging off military hardware, destroying everything in his path. And he's smiling. Whatever this thing is, it's enjoying itself. M1 Abrams tanks are airlifted in from Fort Irwin. Their 120mm smoothbore cannons fire sabot rounds, tungsten penetrators at Mach 5 with 12 megajoules of kinetic energy. These rounds punched through Iraqi armor from 2 miles away. Sukuna sees the tank's positioning and decides to make this interesting. He stands perfectly still, arms folded, letting them take the first shot. The sabot round crosses the distance in under a second and hits Sukuna directly in the chest. The tungsten dart, designed to penetrate the most advanced armor on Earth, shatters on impact. Fragments rain down around his feet like broken glass. Sukuna looks down at his chest, mildly intrigued. That actually left a mark, a faint red line that fades within seconds as his cursed energy regenerates the damage. In 1,000 years, maybe 3 attacks have genuinely hurt him. This wasn't one of them. He extends a finger toward the tank column and draws a line in the air. World-cutting slash. A single slash extends for half a mile, cutting through all 8 tanks simultaneously. The 70-ton behemoths split diagonally, their ammunition cooking off in secondary explosions. This is the technique that bisected entire buildings in Shibuya, the attack that even Gojo had to take seriously. Against conventional armor, it's not a weapon, it's an execution. 12 p.m. F-22 Raptors scramble from Travis Air Force Base. America's apex predators carry AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles with 40-pound warheads capable of Mach 4 speeds. They engage from beyond visual range, launching their entire payload. Sukuna watches the missiles approach with clinical interest. He's never seen weapons quite like these. In his era, the most advanced ranged attacks were cursed techniques and arrows, but the principle is the same. Fast-moving projectiles designed to kill from a distance. He decides to show these humans what a real ranged attack looks like. Sukuna opens his mouth, and cursed energy condenses into a single point on his tongue. Flames. A torrent of fire erupts skyward. Not ordinary flames, but cursed flames that burned through Jogo, a special grade curse whose very existence was volcanic heat. The missiles vanish inside the inferno, their warheads detonating prematurely, their guidance systems melted to slag. The fire continues upward, engulfing 2 F-22s before the pilots can react. The remaining jets scatter, but Sukuna isn't done. He leaps. In a single bound, he reaches 40,000 feet, higher than the jet's operational ceiling, and descends on them from above. 4 arms, 4 kills. The Raptors fall from the sky, trailing smoke and fire. 1 p.m. The president faces an impossible decision. The USS Jimmy Carter, a Seawolf-class submarine, awaits orders in the Pacific. On board, Tomahawk cruise missiles with conventional warheads and authentication codes for tactical nuclear options if necessary. Someone suggests the GBU-57 massive ordinance penetrator first. 30,000 pounds, 11 tons of TNT equivalent, enough to destroy underground bunkers through 200 feet of concrete. A B-2 Spirit bomber drops the MOP from 45,000 feet. It falls towards San Francisco at terminal velocity, aimed directly at Sukuna's last known position. Sukuna senses the bomb's approach, not through sight or sound, but through the disturbance and cursed energy as the massive weapon displaces air. He looks up with genuine curiosity. This is the biggest attack they've thrown at him so far. He raises one hand and catches it. 30,000 pounds of explosive ordnance stopped dead by a single palm. The bomb's momentum transfers into the ground beneath him, cratering the street for 100 meters. But the weapon doesn't detonate. Sukuna's grip has pinched the detonator mechanism shut. He examines it for a moment, then tosses it into the bay where it sinks without exploding. Humans and their toys. 2 p.m. The nuclear option is on the table. The USS Kentucky surfaces to launch depth. Trident II missiles armed with W-88 warheads. Combined yields of over 80 megatons, more than 5,000 times Hiroshima. But here's what the military doesn't know. Sukuna has a technique that makes nuclear weapons irrelevant. Domain expansion. Malevolent Shrine. Unlike other domains, Malevolent Shrine doesn't create a barrier, it manifests directly in reality. A Buddhist shrine of bone and malice that extends for 200 meters in every direction. Within that radius, dismantle and cleave activate continuously, automatically cutting everything that exists into ribbons. There is no defense, there is no escape. The technique doesn't miss because it doesn't aim, it simply erases everything within range. In Shibuya, Sukuna opened his domain for 14 seconds. The casualty count was immeasurable. Buildings, people, other curses, everything within range ceased to exist as coherent matter. If the military launches a nuclear strike and Sukuna responds with Malevolent Shrine, he could theoretically cut the warheads apart before detonation. And even if one got through, even if the blast hit him directly, Sukuna survived the combined assault of every major sorcerer in modern jujutsu. A nuke might actually hurt him. It won't kill him. And then he'd be angry. 3 p.m. Sukuna stands atop the ruins of San Francisco's financial district, surveying the destruction with satisfaction. The military threw everything at him: bullets, missiles, tanks, bombs, and accomplished nothing except entertaining him for a few hours. He's bored again. Modern humans are weak, their weapons loud, but ultimately meaningless against true power. Maybe he'll try another country next. He's got 1,000 years of conquest to make up for. Final assessment. The US military versus Ryomen Sukuna isn't a real fight. It's not even a war. It's a natural disaster wearing a human face. Sukuna conquered the golden age of jujutsu, an era when sorcerers were stronger, techniques were more refined, and cursed spirits roamed freely. Modern military hardware, impressive as it is against human enemies, doesn't register on the scale of power he operates at. Unlike Yuji, Sukuna has no restraint. Unlike Gojo, he has no interest in protecting anyone. Unlike Omni-Man, he's not conquering for an empire. He's destroying because he enjoys it. The King of Curses killed sorcerers who could warp reality, regenerated from wounds that would annihilate lesser beings, and smiled through all of it. Earth's only defense against Sukuna isn't weapons. It's praying he gets bored and leaves. That's all I had. If you want to see what happens when Yuji fights the entire US military, click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching.